Now we understand the interpretation of the verses. Uh, the Ksibli illuminate. First, the pasuk says Yimtzeu beres midbar. So you found him in the desert, which means the midbar hu mokim asher lo yoshav adam sham. The midbar is a place where people don't sit there. People in this case means the Adam Ha'elyon. Hainushu mechutz l'moshav Adam Elyon. That's outside of the settled of the Adam Elyon. Bal derech zeh, not only chutz Adam Elyon, it's chutz from Eden of a Yid. Mechutz l'moshav b'nei Yisrael akrim Adam. It's not in a settled. It's outside of a settled place of the Adam where Yidden are called Adam. Atem krim Adam. Adam Elyon, compared to the Elyon. So what does it mean? It's in a place where there's no Adam, meaning ki b'chol Yisrael yesh nefesh hakedusha shehi chelik elokamim al mamish. Every Yid has a soul of kedusha, which is a part of Hashem mamish. So therefore, that we're all the people that we're a chelik of Hashem. Ulefikoch ein lohem shum shayches lemokim hamidbar shemechutz lekedusha. So a yid, in essence, has no connection to any place of a desert which is outside of kedusha, because a yid is kedusha, and a place which is not kedusha, a yid doesn't sit there. It's not him. It can't be there. So we're saying even more than that. It's not only that a yid doesn't sit there, not only that he doesn't settle Hainu Yisrael Shom. Odom, again, meaning Yisrael, because Adam Kriyim Odom. So not only in that place, which is a midbar, outside of Kedusha, the yid doesn't settle there, El Shalav Shom. It doesn't even pass there. Hainu she'ein li Yisrael kol shayches lemokim zeh. He has no connection. V'zeu shemamshich, and that's why the pasuk says K'nesher yoyid kinoi, like the nesher. Why like the nesher? He wakes up because kilamokim zen noflo b'chinas nefesh, b'chinas nesher. Because K'nesher, it fell down all the ways noshat, because Yid doesn't belong there, and Yid has no shaykhs over there. It's a place of a midbar, and it has no connection, and don't even Yid doesn't even pass by there, and that is where it fell down over there in the level of a noshat. So even though we're talking about a very big descent all the ways to the level that noshat, it fell down all the ways into the Eretz Midbar, where a person doesn't see, doesn't pass. It's outside of the territory of Kedusha. It's Noshar, K'nesher, still Yimtzeu. Yimtzeu, Eretz Midbar Gomer. The Gam, Mishom, Yikabetzcha, Hashem Elekecha, Mishom Yikachecha. Hashem gathers you in from there, and he takes from there, quoting the Pasuk. V'halo, v'hatshuva, memokim zeh. How do you go up? How do you return from that place, from the midbar? That is through revealing the level of nesher, as we said, in the highest level, to the level of pnimius hakeser. Because from the forest itself, you have to make the ox to cut the forest, which means to cut the level of klippa that has come down, we have to go all the ways up to its source where it comes from, and from there we can elevate it. And that way, through this, when you reveal the level of Knesher, you become a Pnei Sakesser. Explains the key von shekol agavoya yoser yered lamata b'yoser. Since the more that it's higher, it goes down lower. So davke through elevation from such a far away place from the midbar, the elevation is much higher. So the reason why you go up all the ways to Pnimius HaKeser is because you went down to the Mokim Rachik, because you ended up in the midbar. And the elevation, therefore, is to the higher place. Similar to explained in many places, from the Likutei Larizal, the Pirush HaKosov explaining the pasuk, that man does not live just on bread, but he lives on what comes from Hashem, the spark that Hashem gives in to the bread, the Asara Mamoris, when the Eibishter gave the energy, the Meitzah Pi Havaye created everything, that everything comes from the Eibishter's saying, and that is, so we say that Meitzah Pi Havaye Yichya, he doesn't live from the physical bread, but he lives from the Meitzah Pi Havaye. So why does the person need the Meitzah Pi Havaye, which is in the bread? Why not the Meitzah Pi Havaye, which is in the Adam? The Eibishter created man as well, just like he created the bread. So it's explained from Likutei Torah, the Arizal, Shamedaber tzorich l'Meitzah Pi Havaye shebedem tzmeach chai. The Medaber needs the tzmeach, demon tzmeach chai, the Meitzah Pi Havaye in that, not his. The Meitzah Pi Havaye in the Adam isn't sufficient. You need of the Demet Sameach Chai. The reason is, Mishum Shemizeh Shenoflu HaNetzoitzes Lamato B'Yoser. Because the fact that the sparks fell lower, B'Doimim Sameach Chai Shalamato Mimedaber. The fact that these sparks fell lower in the Demet Sameach Chai, which are lower level than Medaber, so that's evidence that their root is higher than the Adam because they came lower. So they davke have the power, that higher level, to vitalize as a Meitzah Pi Havaye shebemedaber. The Meitzah Pi Havaye shebemedaber, we need the Meitzah Pi Havaye the Mitzvah Chai, because the lower came out lower comes from higher. And similar when said even lower. Here we're talking about Daimim Tzemech Chai. It's not tummy. It's actually able to elevate it, the Daimim Tzemech Chai. But here we're talking about an eagle, a nesher, which is a tomidik bird. So understand that if it falls even below, lower than the Daimim Tzemech Chai, B'chinas Nesher, it's on the level of Nesher, Shinyona Hanefila Mechutz L'Mokem HaGedusha, which the idea is that it falls outside of the area of Kedusha. The Davke Al Yidei Aliyah Ali Memokem Zeh Oilim At Lipnimis HaKeser. So Davke, the elevation from such a low play, you come all the way to Pnimis HaKeser because you come from Pnimis HaKeser. That's why you ended up so low. That's why the elevation goes up to Pnimis HaKeser, just like by the Daimim Tzmeach Chai, that the Medaber goes up to the level of the Meitzah Pi Havaye, which is in the Daimim Tzmeach Chai. This is actually the reason why the Neshama came down below. From a very high rooftop, the Bira Amikta to a very deep abyss of a pit, a deep pit. Mebchinas neshama shenasata bi, starting with the neshama you've given me, ad lenafachta bi, till we come, you have blown it in beilam hazatacht. Why is that? Kidei sheba'olam zeh tia ha'aliyah milmata b'yoser. So in this world, it should be the elevation from the lowest level. Besulam hamurtzav arzo davke, the ladder which is standing on the ground. V'al yidei zeh, through the level, the ladder which is standing on the ground, Reishem Agia Hashemaymo, you reach even to the sky, higher to the sky, L'mayla b'yoser, very high, higher. Ad ruach toshuv el elikim asher nesano, till you reach the level that the spirit returns to the Hashem that given it. So it's nafachta bi ato nasato ato b'sham. So you not only bring it back to Shemaimo, but you bring it back el elikim asher nesano, which is the beginning from where the neshama comes in the first place. And this is what the pasuk continues. Yitzerenu ki ishin einoi. You guard him like the black of the eye. The black of the eye, that's where the light of the eye is. It's not the white of the eye that sees, but it's the black, because it's the darkness that turns around that really gets to see, gets to the higher level. The ishin hu ha-shocher shebayin, that's the black of the eye. K'mayim razal. As our sages of blessed memory say, you don't see from the white of the eye, but it's the black of the eye, the pupil. The inyan hashocher shebayim hainu hashachrus v'helem v'arichu v'chulu. Black on the eye represents the darkness, the obscurity, the distance. From the far away, that's where you get to see. When you reflect about this, that you find yourself in black, you're shacher, you're distant, you're in a place of blackness, because the person is in the desert. He starts to realize that he's far away, that he's black. And it's bad and it's bitter, the fact that you abandoned Hashem. That brings him through tshuva, through that descent, feeling remorse, of feeling bad and bitter about leaving Hashem, brings the tshuva from the depths of the heart, to the extent that the intentional sins become like merits and eventually merits. First they become like merits and then they become actual merits. The Rebbe explains that Davke the Yerida, Davke because Yimtzeu Beretz Midbar, and then the elevation is that it goes all the ways up to Pnimis HaKeser, because when it's Mutzav Arza, the lower you go higher, like the whole Cheshbon with the Demetzmech High, which is higher than the Medaber. And when a person reflects and sees how far, that's sort of represented by the black of the eye, that brings him to the riyah, to the vision, so that it turns around, the sins become like merits and merits. B'zeu k'nasher yoir kinoi al Gozliov yirachiv. That he wakes up and he hovers over these small eagles. The harichuv al Gozliov moida al orachamim shel nesher kipshute. This hovering over its little ones points to the literal compassion of the nesher, literally. Da'idei avodas hatshuva mebchinas nesher lamato. So through the service of tshuva in the lesher below, which is very literal nesher, k'nesher, like the nesher, and physically, simply, Ya'ir kinoi shelemaylo maylo, you sort of awake the nest of above, you weigh the highest level of the kנשר of Rachman. So from the lowest level of Nesher, you awake the Kineda to the highest level of Rachamim. Nesher Rachamim Lamato to the Rachamim Lamailo. Balderech Mash Kosu B'Mokamachar, Rachamim are connected. So even though this is Rachamim very kipshute, and that's Rachamim of Atik, so it's still connected. Balderech Mash Kosu B'Mokamachar, that these things are connected, even though this is in a higher level, and this is a lower level. The is rotzin, the is rotzin. So there is two rotzins. So even though one is higher and the other one is lower, the rotzin atachten is a kli umamshiches rotzin elyon. It's a vessel and it draws down this supreme rotzin. Val derech zeh yira tato. Same thing is with yira. This is rotzin. Yira tato, the lower level of yira. That's a vessel for the upper level, supreme level of Yira. Basically, anytime the same name is used, it's Yira, they're clear to the other one. The level of Nesher Rachamim. Over here below, that brings you up to the level of compassion of above, ad l'rachamim shelamaylo maylo memido, to l'rachamim, which is even higher than a measure, which is the level of atik primis hakeser. V'zehu yimtzoehu be'eretz midbar goimer. This is what we say. You find him in the desert. Why? The Metzia Shaykh Bedover Shenevad. When can you find something? You find him in the midbar, meaning he got lost. Because if you didn't get lost, there's nothing to find. Metzia Shaykh Bedover Shenevad. That means he got lost. Hainu Shegam Elu Shenevdu Be'eretz Midbar. Also, those that were lost they were nevdim. We got to find them. The Eibster gathers you of Gomer. Va'ad she bechinas mitzia. It says, oh wow, we found him, which means inyan shaleleferech hayigia. Mitzia means it's an idea that you didn't. When you work for something, that means the effort brings it about. But mitzia means you get a lot more. What does it mean that the yid in the midbar is found like a mitzia? The Eibster finds him over there. The Rebbe says that the Eibster didn't expect to find a Yid over there. So to speak, Hashem did not estimate, so to speak, by himself. He didn't imagine. He wasn't prepared that he's going to find the godly portion whole in the desert. He finds him in the midbar. What does it mean? Because that was optional to the person, and yet the person came through. He was all sharakol b'dei shamayim, chutz mi'yireh shamayim. So everything is in the hands of Hashem beside yireh shamayim. So oh wow, look what I found. I found the yid, that the godly portion is b'shleimus, and that's not in Kaviyachol, that's not in the Eibshter's hand. Because of that, Hashem is excited from the service of a yid. To the extent that this brings to a tremendous delight, a great delight. And like the very literal thing that a person is very excited to find something. It's not saying when a person delights if he earns something that he worked for. The Pasuk says, he works the land, he will be satisfied, he'll get the bread. So that's a liferach d'avodah, he gets rewarded. It's not the same thing. Somebody finds something. It's not at all compared to the effort. He found something. The Eibishter finds a yid. It brings him a tremendous excitement. That he carries him on himself. Because through this avodah of tshuva, from Eretz Midbar, Eilim, Lamailo Mailo, you go higher and higher, Ad Lamailo Mibchinas Avrosai, till higher than Avrosai, higher than the body, Hainu Lamailo Mabachevor the Malka, higher than 248 kings of the limbs of the king. That's in Atzilus, the different, every mitzvah that we do, the Ramach Pikudim is the Ramach Evor and the Malka, we're Mamshich, the Tziyur Adam, the way it is, the limbs in Atzilus. Ki Yisrael Kodmu L'Torah mitzvahs, because the Yidden is higher than the Torah mitzvahs. Kedisa B'Tana Devei Yohu, as it says in Tana Yohu. There was a question, who is first? So Vani Omer Yisrael Kodmu. Ebshter says, I say the Yidden come first. The Torah itself says, but Torah, that the Yidden come first, because speak to the Yidden, so it means that there's a Yid already there to talk to. Amir of Yisrael. So the Yidden going Alev Rossi, higher than Torah mitzvah, till the place it says all of Hashem Bodad Yanchenu. Hashem leads them all by himself alone. There's nobody else there. Yisrael Umalko Bilchidoi, the Yidden and the king by himself. Sheitzroel v'atzmusim husis baruch kulu chad, that the Yidden with the Asmus are all one. That's where he raises them to all the ways to that level. Through learning these ideas in the written Torah, the Parsha HaAzino, and then you learn it in the oral Torah, as the Rebbe brought down from the different Mamorim Chazal, until teaching Chabad Shinyonu Hasbora, which is explanation. The idea of Chabad is to bring it down to the extent that you are sustained by it. It's not just understanding it superficially, but it gives you the sustenance, parnasa. So that reflection brings you to action, which is chipus, birur, and netzutzis b'chol mokim, to search and to sort out the sparks everywhere. Especially when you come across these sparks by divine providence, by that way you come to the fulfillment of the promise. Hashem leads them. That Yisrael lives secure, bodod, by himself, and Yaakov. Korev mamish begula mitzvah shleim idei Mashiach Tzidkenu Yovev Yigelenu Yelechenu Kemius Lartzenu V'Meherev Yameinu mamish.